Between 2001 and 2008, the height of the Musharraf era, the height of the Musharraf U-turn, pro-Bush, anti-Taliban U-turn era, $10.6 billion came to Pakistan. Agreed?
I read in the New York Times.
Between '01, hold on, let me do the math.
I saw that in New York Times. I didn't read it.
Between '01 and '08.
We weren't told in the assembly.
Between '01, I know. Bad things happen. Well, we're done with that. We're done Musharraf bashing, right? Yep. But between '01 and '08, that's 7 years. $10.6 billion in 7 years is roughly, I think it's about $1.51 billion. $1.51 billion. The same amount of money which has come in for the last 7 years during the Musharraf time is now coming in. The same amount. It's nothing different, right? Except that money was going to whoever. Let's not ponder over where it was going. Now this money, the Americans have wisened up or whatever, according to their own perception of life. And this money evidently is going to civilians. Now that money was going wherever, military dictator, you read it in the Times, you didn't hear about it in Parliament, done. Why didn't we see this furor, this anger from Imran Khan between '01 and '08? All of a sudden, the KLB is the most evil thing which has ever happened. The same, not a dollar more, $1.5 billion were coming in then per year, still coming in.
Wajahat, I'm surprised you didn't hear anything from Imran Khan, because from day one, the moment Musharraf sent his forces into Waziristan, I was the first one in the assembly who said that this is a big blunder, and whatever I said has come true. And you know what he called me? A terrorist without a beard, for saying that this is madness sending our forces in. Today I'm called pro-Taliban because I oppose the military operations again. That means that the anti-war movement in Britain, which all of them are opposing the operation, are they also pro-Taliban? This is all nonsense. It's to shut people up.
Okay.
We have allowed people to use our country to destabilize it.
Fine,
and the long term is a nuclear program.
But see, a couple of things. I know you sort of brushed it under the carpet earlier. I just threw it in.
Okay,
it was a side snipe. You're getting better at this, huh? So you completely dodged it.
Go on, no, just tell the truth.
We've got a forum thing going on, right? TalkBack is very interactive online, and we have a bunch of people who we interact with, and they send us questions. And interesting question. This came across that Imran Khan has conceived and accomplished many marvels in the shape of Shaukat Khanum Cancer Hospital and Namal Knowledge City. Okay, it is a pity that his party has not been able to put forward a comprehensive education and healthcare plan to the nation in 13 years.
Well, we brought out 2 manifestos, one in '97 and one in 2002. All the independent NGOs rated it as one of the best manifestos. And I challenge everyone that the manifesto which we are going to bring out now for the next elections, we've already got the rough draft, it will be the most revolutionary. We are the only party which has done social work before coming into politics.
You're asking for midterms, just a segue into that. You're asking for midterm elections, yes?
Yep.
Yeah, you're the leading voice of midterm elections in this country.
Yes.
And you don't have a manifesto ready.
No. Midterm elections are not going to happen overnight. They'll be, they'll give us time, and we'll produce a manifesto in 2 weeks because we got our rough draft. We don't want to bring out a manifesto now because someone will copy it.
What's the USP? What's the new thing about the manifesto? How is this one any different?
No, because the things in Pakistan have changed completely. Most importantly, we've got to have economic justice in Pakistan. You've got to change the taxation system. You've got to tax the rich and alleviate the suffering of the poor people who are being told.
Okay. Now, manifesto, yeah? Sticking to the point. I'm going to go back. Didn't ask you this, missed on this, but I'm going to come back. In your manifesto, the one online right now,
this is 2002.
2002. That's the one, right?
Because things have changed since then.
Under the National Security Clause, right? You've said a couple of things about the army. Now, we've talked about the army. I know we're past that. Let's just go back to that. You've said that you want to rationalize the size and structure of our armed forces in view of the strength gained from our deterrence capability. By that, you mean nuclear weapons, right? So you're effectively saying, using an interesting word, rationalize the size and structure of our armed forces. Now that's written in 2002. Where do you stand today?
I do believe that Pakistan needs a very solid defense. I have never had any doubt ever since I watched the slaughter of Muslims in Bosnia Chechnya. I think that a Muslim country is not going to get help from anyone. It has to defend itself. So you need a defense. I want the army to stay in its constitutional role. But I do believe that the whole country has to go through an austerity campaign. We have to cut down on, you cannot have a huge deficit between your expenses and your revenues.
But it sounds
so therefore,
like
all over.
I understand.
And army takes a huge chunk of our budget.
I understand.
So everyone has to cut down here.
The war we're fighting today, 2002, you're saying rationalize the size of the army, right? Do you stick by that today? Does the army need more funds today? And you're on the record on this one. Does the army need more funds today, considering the national security paradigm which we find ourselves in, the new national security situation? Or do you stick by this? Do you still want to cut down on the army?
I definitely stick by that. Army does not need more funds. Army needs to get out of someone else's war. And our security forces can take care of the rest of the real die-hard terrorists. Look, we need to cut our expenditures. We have to be a viable state. We have to raise our taxes and cut our expenditure. We can't keep begging and borrowing from other countries. We can't live with these deficits. So you have to restructure the economy.
Okay.
And you have to make the rich pay taxes. You can't have the poor people get poorer and the rich poor. It's unsustainable in the long run.
Okay. Last couple of questions. This one you dodged earlier, but this is from a forum, so I have to ask it. A fan of yours who was a supporter and admits to be a supporter, but is now starting to doubt you. She says that he's made this huge mistake, that we were sold on his argument about believing in Musharraf, and then he came out and said, I made a mistake, never again shall I support a military dictator. Now she's saying that if he was wrong then about Musharraf, and he came back and apologized, and yeah, sure, apology taken. Most of the country was with you on that, by the way. It wasn't just you, right? She's saying, why should we believe him now? How is he different now? How is he on it now?
She should realize that the reason why I left Musharraf, because he hoodwinked all of us. He lied to us. He took us up the garden path saying he was removing a sham democracy, bringing in real democracy. He was doing accountability. And in the end...
And who's hoodwinking us now?
Hold on. So we got fooled by him. He was a great con man. And what happens now, when I moved away from Musharraf, Musharraf still had a lot of support. Today, whatever I said about him has been proven correct. That basically it was Musharraf first, not Pakistan first. And now why they should trust me is because whatever I said about the military operations has turned out right. What stood by the independent justice system. I was the first one talking about corruption and accountability in this country. And why she should trust me is because here is a party that took stand on principles on when we had a fairly good chance this time to contest elections in the last one. We stood by the Constitution and the Chief Justice. We stood by our principles. We did not contest an election on doctrine of necessity. So she should stand by us because we are credible.
Okay. Finally, a viewer from Lahore says that in Lahore we have a saying that pet mein dadi hai, right? That from the inside you are an extremist. Final response. That's the perception Imran Khan has. Pro-Taliban. In closet Taliban. Taliban Khan. Closet fundamentalist.
Funny, because when I started, I was called part of a Jewish lobby. I have not changed my thoughts, and from there it's gone 180 degrees to the Taliban. Look, the point is, in Pakistan, unfortunately, people do not understand, and especially I'm talking about the westernized elite, does not understand the real Pakistan. Anyone who talks about religion is supposed to be a mullah. They do not understand that anyone who opposes military oppression is not pro-Taliban. My ideology is very clear. My two role models, and from day one we have said, one is Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah as my political role model, and my ideological role model will always remain the great Iqbal. Now, if anyone knows their philosophy or their ideology, they would realize that they are as far from Taliban as probably, North Pole is from the South Pole.
Imran Khan, and thanks for talking back. That was Imran Khan, the popular chief of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, also known as the Movement for Justice. We hope you enjoyed this episode of TalkBack. Email us at talkback@dawnnews.tv. Reviews are very important to us. Also interact with us on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages to help us ask the questions you want answered from the opinion and news leaders of this country. That's it from me, Wajahat S and the rest of the TalkBack team here from our Islamabad studios. We'll catch you next week. Take care.